Hello everyone, this is Garrett and this is Super Panda Adventures. And the last time we played, Tyler told us to get back to the Blobby Forest. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We can actually go to the desert right now, but it's actually more convenient to go here first because there is something we can get here which opens some more possibilities in the desert area and some other areas as well. So in general, I'd say it's a better idea to go here first. It's not very difficult to get the item that we're going to get here. And it actually makes some of the other areas a bit easier as well. So, yeah, would just recommend going here. But if you want, you can go to the desert anyway. It's just that you'll probably have to do more backtracking if you don't. However, there is a boss here, this large flower, which is now a blob, and it shoots lasers at us from its antenna, I guess. And it's pretty much the easiest boss in the game. You can pretty much just get hit with the shield deliberately, and then just start hitting him, and then get hit again, and then just keep that cycle going until he dies. Unfortunately, I leveled up immediately afterwards, which is quite nice. And there is the grappling glove. With it, we have the power to grapple to the ledge of cliffs to jump to higher grounds. And that, well, in short, basically means we can grab ledges, which is very useful and actually makes a lot of things considerably easier. It especially makes jumping areas a lot easier. And it allows you to just get to higher grounds, which is very nice as well. There is an area here where we weren't able to get to before, which is all the way back here. And after killing some of these enemies, we can climb up and reach some areas which we couldn't reach before thanks to our new climbing gloves. Now, there is actually a couple of things which I didn't explain very well in the previous video, so I'm going to go over it a little bit better in this video, which is the combo system, for one. Is when you start hitting someone, your combo in the bottom left will start going up, and if you do over 100 damage, then you will get an experience bonus for it. And the combo carries over to other enemies as long as you manage to hit someone and actually deal damage within like only have a 2-second pause between each hit at max. You will just keep that combo going up and up and up, and the more damage you've dealt in this combo, the more experience you will get in the eventual bonus. And you can sometimes get like 100 extra experience just for getting a high combo if you get to certain spots in the game. So it really is worthwhile to do. Anyway, we got the blue key. We got a power orb to the top right, in case you didn't notice. And with that, we can go back to Tyler and tell him what we managed to find in this specific area. Now, with the climbing gloves, this also becomes a lot easier. We no longer need to get the red key. Well, we have the red key, but we don't need to walk through the door anymore. We can just climb all the way up. Don't need to press all those buttons and do all of that stuff, which makes climbing this area considerably quicker than before, which is very nice. Let's talk to Tyler. Hey, Tyler, I'm back. There was a giant mechanical blobby that disturbed the peace. What does that mean? It means that you have to defeat the 8 robot masters before you face an evil, eyebrow-wiggling doctor in his castle. What? Never mind. Hey, did you notice this strange glowing light on top of that mountain over there? Now that you mention it, it's quite obvious. Do you know who lives on the top of that mountain? Nobody lives there. It's a very dangerous place. You should go there. Are you out of your mind? There's no way I can climb that mountain all by myself. Come on now. Princesses don't like quitters. Show that mountain who's boss and find out what this glowing light is. Will do. Be careful while I'm gone. Their robots are everywhere. I still have yet to meet one of those metal dudes you're talking about, but I'll be careful. Good luck to you. So Tyler's still completely oblivious what's going on. In the background you can see the glowing light he was talking about. And I believe this actually makes it possible to go to an extra area, which is Vanilla Rock, but we are not going there just yet. For now, gonna go to the desert, as I said before. There are a few extra areas we can reach now thanks to the climbing gloves. And I don't think we've been in any desert area so far yet as well, so it's kind of nice to see a nice change of terrain. The desert looks quite nice in my opinion, and the background also looks quite lovely. Now, there are still a few things which we can't interact with, like these arrows up here, but so eventually we will have to just backtrack here in order to get all of the stuff in these areas. But getting the climbing gloves first just reduces the backtracking by a lot, so just going to do that first. But let's talk to this guy. Uncle Bob, I'm so glad to see you're okay. How's your vacation going? Oh, who is this? The sun is blinding today. It's me, Uncle. Ooh, your nephew. Huh. Anyone could say that. You have to prove that you are a family member by completing 3 dangerous trials. What? No way. Where are your sunglasses, Uncle? I probably forgot my sunglasses when I was underground. Please take my key and bring them to me. And we get a yellow key, which is required to get to the well, we don't need it to get to the underground area, but we need it to get anywhere in the underground area, pretty much, because when we go down here, you can pretty much already see the yellow door the moment we get in here. Also, I've pretty much been ignoring my levels up, and I'll explain that in a minute, because yeah, I'll just explain it in a minute. Also, without the climbing gloves, we wouldn't have been able to get this key, and we wouldn't have been able to go through the door below us. But first, before I'm going to go through that door, I am just going to go through the path, which we didn't need the climbing gloves for. Although, with the climbing gloves, we can get this moon, which we otherwise wouldn't be able to get. And, you know, the more experience we can get, the better, because levels up do help quite a lot in the long run. The extra stats you can get with it are just really useful. And yeah, it definitely makes the game a lot easier. Though I will say that whenever you get a level up, you do get all of your health back, which is actually really useful sometimes. So it is technically a good idea to plan your levels up for certain areas so you get all your health back at certain spots, but it's kind of tricky to do, especially with the combo bonuses and stuff. But anyway, let's get the sunglasses. You found Uncle Bob's sunglasses. Bring them back to him so he can see better. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Going to press some buttons here so all these platforms appear. Another nice thing about platforms that appear is that if you're essentially inside one when it spawns, it'll just launch you on top of it. And this makes it possible to just jump up certain platforms really quickly. And it just, in general, it makes it a lot easier to get on top of spawning platforms, which is quite nice. Anyway, let's talk to him. I found your sunglasses, Uncle. Thank you very much, Fu. There you are. I was looking for you. Really? Metal things have come to this world, destroyed the village, and took the princess. You don't say. Meow was here not long ago and told me. She said you have to meet her in the Blobby Forest. It's dangerous to go alone. Here, take these shuriken. Why do you have shuriken on you? I don't know. You got the shuriken. Throw it like a boomerang and try to catch it when it comes back. Now, the shuriken is actually really, really useful. It is our first range weapon. There is going to be a few other ones, but this is the first one. And yeah, range weapons are really, really good. And if only because the range of your sword is really quite piddly. And what I was talking about earlier with my levels up, that I was basically saving them up, pretty much just gonna be putting all of my points into Shuriken Mastery, which increases the damage of my Shuriken. And this used to be locked until we picked up the Shuriken. So now we have Shuriken Mastery and Crystal Armor. Catch Shuriken to create powerful crystals around you. Each point increases damage. That's not really a very good skill in my opinion, but it is actually kind of worthwhile to put at least 1 point into it, because at least that way you'll have access to it. It won't deal a lot of damage, but it's more than nothing. And there's actually a few skills which I'll be putting 1 point into for just a really long time before actually properly upgrading it. But for now, I'm pretty much only going to be focusing on Shuriken Mastery. I kind of want to get that to 10 as quickly as possible. 10 being the maximum level for, I believe, every skill in the game. And having that on 10, the damage increase is just so good. Because when we first got the Shuriken, it dealt about 5 to 6 damage per enemy. Well, per hit, rather. And now it already deals 10. And while 10 doesn't sound a lot, like we're doing 32 damage per hit with the sword, it does stay inside the enemy if you throw it correctly for a really long time. And that makes it really, really useful, because the longer it stays inside the enemy, obviously the more damage it does. And yeah, you can do some pretty crazy amounts of damage if the enemy is actually in a proper location. Now, these guys are kind of annoying. They have a shield, but they also have a gun. And they don't use the gun very frequently. Like there, he shot it. And it's not too scary. Also, when an enemy goes off screen, it gets all his health back sometimes, which is kind of annoying. But the shield is really annoying because it can just randomly pull it up whenever you hit it. And from that point on, you won't be able to damage it anymore until it puts the shield down again. And yeah, it just gets tedious mostly, but it is really quite a problem. And my health is really low right now, so I'm kind of hoping I won't die. Gonna have to be a little bit careful. That's the problem with Redonkulous difficulty. Things do, in fact, deal quite a bit of damage. And it does add up after a while, so 4 health, not very happy about that, but I'm sure we'll live. And the Amulet of Life. Find the other half to unleash its magic. Now, there's actually quite a lot of relics in this game. The relics are shown to the top right of your inventory here. And pretty much all of them, you need to get 2 parts before you can actually properly use it. But they're all, pretty much all of them are just really useful, so it is definitely worthwhile getting them. Fortunately, there is a cherry up here, so our shield and health is all the way back to 100. And that's pretty much all we can do in the desert for now. We can go to the right here, but there is just immediately a blue locked door. And the key is up there, and we can't really do anything there right now. So, for now, just gonna go back and go to Sunshine Desert. Now, we can go to the right, but for now, it is actually a better idea to just go to the left for now, because we'll have to go to the right eventually anyway, and it's actually better to wait with it just now. But there is some interesting stuff to the left, so we are just gonna go to the left. And once again, our shuriken does become really quite useful indeed against pretty much every enemy, including an enemy which is, I believe, introduced in this level, which are these birds. And these birds have the greatest sprite of any bird in any game, but the shuriken actually does pretty much kill them in 2 hits. So if you can just throw it properly, then it'll just get destroyed, which is quite nice, because even though the birds don't deal a lot of damage, they're kind of tricky to hit with the sword sometimes, due to the fact that they fly in specific angles. And even though they don't deal a lot of damage, there tend to be kind of a lot of them, and if you get hit by all of them, then, well, obviously you're going to take a fair amount of damage just because of sheer quantity. So you don't want that. So we are just going to make sure that no birds hit us, and if they do, then I'm just going to get really, really angry about it. Now, a decent strategy for most robots is to just charge up your sword and hit them, and then immediately hit them with a normal attack. Usually that does so much damage that they just kind of instantly die. And there are some robots with more health than others, but overall, this will pretty much just take care of all of them. And it actually works quite well for a lot of other enemies as well to just do that, because it deals quite a lot of damage to do that. Now, these guys are actually really annoying when you get close to them, because they shoot quite a lot of bubbles, and the shuriken is actually really useful for this, as you can see, because once you're out of shuriken range, essentially, then they will also kind of stop shooting bubbles at you. So a good strategy is to just throw a shuriken and then jump up, because then they'll only throw 1 bubble, which will usually miss as well. And from that point on, they'll just take so much damage that they'll generally die in 1 or 2 shurikens. Even if you haven't upgraded it, you only need to do that 3 or 4 times, I think. So it's definitely a pretty good idea to just use the shuriken on those guys whenever possible. But anyway, climbing up our way here, got some extra experience by making the blocks break earlier, which is quite nice. The more experience, the better, I'd say. Because the sooner we can get the shuriken to level 10, the sooner we can start leveling up other stuff as well. And there are just a lot of... Well, we're going to be leveling up a lot, so it is nice to just try and get as much as possible. And try to keep our combo going as well. Now, the shuriken is actually... The shuriken makes the combo go up as well, which, as you could probably imagine, makes it a lot easier to keep your combo going, because if you don't catch it, it'll actually just fly past you, and it'll just hit whatever it feels like hitting. Like, whatever is in its trajectory, it will hit. And because of this, if you can kind of keep it floating around you, you can generally just hit random stuff behind walls, because the shuriken can just go through walls as well. And you can often just keep your combo going, even if there's not really enemies anywhere close to you. And we leveled up, and what is this? The Helm of Fortitude. Find the other half to unleash its magic. Not really useful for now, but again, once we find the second half, it will actually be proving quite useful to us, so there you go. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but in the bottom right, it starts blinking, the LVL starts blinking yellow once you level up, and it'll stay blinking until you actually spend the points on stuff, so yeah, keep that in mind, because it is kind of wasteful not to spend skill points most of the time. It usually is just better to spend them immediately. But the only exception pretty much was the shuriken, that I'd rather just get to as high as level as possible, just so I can deal as much damage with it as possible as well. Even though the shield guys don't really care much for it, it is a safe way of killing them, even though the charge attack will just kill them a lot quicker usually. Now it is kind of annoying when they come from the bottom, like somewhere slightly below you, because you can't just jump and throw it. But if you just throw and then jump and then like properly avoid it, then it will go down a bit, and you can sometimes actually hit it like that, but it's kind of tricky to say the least, and usually I just miss it every time. So in general, I just try to hit them with the sword whenever they're below me, but whatever works for people works for you, really. So it's just finding out what works best for you to see the best strategy for you, obviously. Anyway, you found Jenna's dog, because, as you may remember, we found a witch earlier in the woods, and she said she had lost her dog, and it was probably somewhere in the desert, and this is said dog. So now that we have it, we can actually return to the desert and see if we can return that wonderful little creature by just going back through the right over here. Get these extra shields. Sadly, your shields don't go up when you pick up, or when you level up, rather. They do go back to 100 when you pick up a cherry, but not with a level up for some reason. So there you go. Anyway, let's go to the left, get to Jenna, because she needs to get her dog back. Now this area is mostly the same. There's a few extra enemies, but it's mostly just more of the same that we've seen before. Just 2 extra robots, I think, in pretty much the entire area. And everything else is just those blobbies and the sorcerers and stuff. Also a nice thing, you can break boxes with the shuriken, which tends to be a lot quicker than just hitting them with your sword. Well, I say a lot quicker, but it's just quicker in general, not super. It doesn't make a super large difference or anything, but it does look a lot cooler when you use it, so... And that is obviously very important when playing a game like this. The way you look when you attack someone. And here's Jenna. Arf, arf. Oh, you found her. This is so sweet of you, and I already know how I can reward you. I didn't do it for a reward, Jenna. I'm just here to help. I know times are harsh, but I've always felt that you are more than meets the eye. Let me teach you magic. Magic? I'm a witch. Of course I can teach you magic. Now relax and hold still. You've learned Mind Bullet. With this spell, Fu can shoot a bolt of pure magic from his finger. Wow, that felt awesome. I can teach you more spells, but I'm out of sparkle leaves. If you happen to find some, bring 5 to me. Find 5 sparkle leaves. Gotcha. I'm sure I've seen some at the Eternal Tree. And while we can go to the Eternal Tree, I kind of want to keep that for the very, very last for a long time. So I'm just going to leave that alone for now. Also, leveled up again. And this is basically the point, because I've leveled it to level 10, I've reached the maximum level for this skill, and that's why it's gold as well. So I'm just going to put 1 point in the Circle of Life, which will randomly give me 5 health upon hitting someone with a sword. Doesn't happen very often, but it is actually quite useful just to have a point in it, because 5 free health is just always nice, even if it's completely random. And power armor, same thing really. You get a protective shield randomly when getting hit, and it lasts for 3 seconds, and that is actually quite useful sometimes, because it means you can just whack at people for a pretty long time, and you just won't be able to take any damage. So obviously that is actually quite useful whenever it pretty much whenever it happens, really. But let's talk to Meow. Meow, are you alright? Yeah, I was able to fight some of the robots that attacked the village, but there were too many. I'm so glad you were able to escape. Do you know what the robots want from us? Not yet, but my ninja skills helped me spy on them for a while. They are planning something big. We have to stop them. What did you find out? Well, they are spreading some sort of machines across the areas they invade. No idea why. Whatever these machines are, they are probably not for baking delicious pizza. Or are they? I guess not. We should find these machines and destroy them as quickly as possible. Do you know where these machines are? One machine is on the left side of this forest. Destroy it and come back to me. Good luck. For some reason, she has a very deep voice. I'm not going to question that. That's just the case, I'm afraid. And a red door. Can't open it, sadly, because as we read before, red keys do not pass over to other areas, even though we have a red key somewhere else. won't work here, which is very sad, but I'm sure we'll find a red key one day. But for now, just gonna make our way up here. These platforms are pretty much just for pressing this button, which you don't really need to do, but you know, free experience stars over there, and I kind of want them. And another point where we would need the climbing gloves, because otherwise we just wouldn't even be able to get up here. So you can, I think, technically get Meow to spawn, because Meow doesn't actually spawn until you get the shuriken. So unless you do that, it's just kind of pointless to be here in general. But yeah, even if you get Meow to spawn, you still need the climbing gloves. So just having that, it's so helpful for so many areas. And yeah, it's just nice, really. Anyway, climb your way up here, because you may have noticed the red key earlier. It was to the left of us, but it's slightly too high. You just can't reach that with a normal jump, so gonna have to walk all the way around. But fortunately, it's not too far away. And another sad thing is that you may have noticed that the machine is just right behind the red door. But sadly, it's immune to shuriken, and it's also immune to magic. Now, magic is actually quite useful most of the time, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage for now because we haven't upgraded it at all yet. But it's another ranged attack, but it does cost mana, so you can't use it infinitely. Mana is shown on the bottom of the screen, so those blue apple sprays will replenish it, but they're pretty much like Mega Man bullets for now, and it is quite useful just to have as many ranged attacks as possible, obviously, because you won't take as much damage, and that's kind of nice. But let's talk to Meow. I did it. The machine is destroyed. Excellent. While you were having fun with the blobbies, I've located Mr. Alfonso. He seems to be okay. That's good to hear. Did you find out what these machines are being used for? I'm working on it. In the meantime, you should go to Morello Mountains to see after Mr. Alfonso. Oh, and before I forget, I found this orb. Might be useful. And we get another power orb, which is always nice because now we have another tune. And we're sadly going to have to get rid of our pink shirt and replace it with leather armor. Fake leather armor, in fact. And it increases damage reduction from 10% to 20%, which obviously is very nice to have indeed. And now that we've done all of that, we can go to several different places once again. Definitely keeping the Eternal Tree for a lot later, but Vanilla Rock does have some nice things that we can get right now. But I am gonna leave that for a later time, as I am gonna take a small break for now. So I hope you have enjoyed it so far. I'm gonna save the game at the save crystal, and then I will see you next time, where we will get some more optional stuff before going to the Eternal Tree. Bye bye.